Oh yeah, her.
Oh my. What could have brought you here?
Wait, what the heck?
The continent of Fodlan, said to be protected by a revered goddess, has
Oh,
existed
man.
since time immemorial. 3 ruling powers now control the land. In the south lies a region long held by a more than 1,000
so happy we're getting one of these again.
The Adrestian Empire. Beyond its borders, to the frigid north, is the home of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, ruled by the royal family and its knights. To the east, a league of nobles that includes no king nor emperor, rules what is called the Leicester Alliance.
Oh man, they're bringing that back from 7.
Once consumed by a
That's
tempest
awesome.
of war and turmoil, Fodlan and these 3 mighty powers now exist in relative harmony.
In the Fire Emblem Three Houses game, you are the hero the world needs.
So you can
You start out
customize
as a
them.
mercenary traveling with a group led by your father, Geralt. After an unexpected incident reveals an unknown power hidden within, you'll travel to Garak Monastery, where you'll receive an offer to teach at the Officers' Academy. Around that same time, you alone begin to see a mysterious girl named Sothis, who appears within your mind. Garak Monastery lies at the center of 3 large territories. It is the home base of the Church of Seiros, the main religion of Fodlan, as well as the Knights of Seiros.
So yeah, we're learning
Not
a bit
only
more
does the
about
church
the whole
serve to maintain
story now.
order in Fodlan, its monastery also houses the Officers' Academy. Those who train there will go on to shoulder the future of Fodlan. The Officers' Academy is comprised of 3 houses. The Black Eagles is for students from the Adrestian Empire, including the House Leader and future Emperor, Edelgard. The Blue Lions boasts Prince Dimitri of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus as its house leader. This house is for students from his kingdom. The Golden Deer is for students from the Leicester Alliance. Their house leader is Claude, who is the heir of the noble family that leads the Alliance. As a professor, you will lead the students of one of these houses and instruct them. In addition to the house leaders, there are many other students to meet, each with their own unique personalities and skills. Which house will you choose?
So wait, this really is kind of like Fates, but what it was supposed to be?
Various lands, sometimes with the Knights of Seiros themselves, and gain real battle experience, including everything from defeating bandits to suppressing rebellions.
Oh gosh.
These may be class assignments, but the stakes in each battle are
Okay,
very
so you do
real.
have like little
Whether
pair
your
up things
students
you can.
live or die will depend on your leadership. Strategize
Oh my
as
gosh.
the battle progresses to claim victory.
Man, yeah, it looks like they really did improve the animations at
the
least a little
Officers'
bit since
Academy,
last time.
Your students will work diligently each day
Oh,
so that
man.
they may wield a variety of weapons. Master the study of magic.
Okay. So you
and
can
acquire special
tell them what you
skills
want them
such
to
as
level up
horsemanship.
in and guide them down certain pathways. That's kind of interesting. Okay.
You have been
Skill for
entrusted with their future, and it's up to you to guide each of them and help them hone their abilities.
Oh
Through
gosh.
combat experience and study, you can help your students reach their full potential.
So wait, it's like fully customizable? Like you can guide
Your
them down
students
like
can also
tons of different
interact with each
class
other at the
chains?
academy, and by doing so, their bonds will strengthen, and they'll be able to better support each other on the battlefield.
Oh, okay. So they can do little training fights.
Hey, over here!
Oh man, that music reminds me of Radiant Dawn.
Forward, now!
3 territories. 3 houses. Your very own journey. Fire Emblem Three Houses will release on July 26th.
Okay. I had a pretty static reaction this time, I realized. That's because I was just trying to take in all of that. Wow. Okay, so I'm here at the trailer by itself, and I'm here to analyze what I can out of it. I'm really interested to just look at all of this because, yeah, earlier, I don't know how much of my reaction I'm going to show, so I might actually just cut in here. Anyways, so I wanted to kind of talk about my thoughts on this new Fire Emblem Three Houses trailer, and just kind of get that out of the way, analyze some things about it, what I think is cool, what I think, things that I'm a little more concerned about. I can certainly say with certainty, they're changing things up a little bit this time, and I'm really wondering how this is all going to play out in the final game. So let's get into this right away. So one of the first things I kind of want to talk about, so they went over a bunch of the story stuff already, so I mean if I kept in the reaction you guys got to see that part. So we have our created character here once again. Now throughout this trailer, throughout the cinematics, so I'm just going to cut to a bunch of them, but we don't really see this character talk ever. So what I'm starting to think is they might be taking kind of a Persona route with it, where Persona 5, I've only really seen 5, I apologize, where the main character just kind of doesn't talk. Now, they are technically a character, of course, but, you know, it's kind of a silent protagonist. And, personally, I'm just going to go back to this guy. I kind of prefer that to what they're doing with Corrin, and here's kind of my reasoning with that. With Corrin and a bunch of these other characters, and we're going to run into this inevitably, this usually is the case when you have a self-insert character, especially when shipping is involved, and I feel they're not really going to escape this trap with this game, as odds are a bunch of the characters are just going to like you. And with Corrin in particular, it was aggravating because since he was also a character, it was really hard to, like, put yourself into his shoes. Like, giving him a personality almost defeated the purpose of making him a created character in the first place. So having an actual avatar, I think, is much smarter. So, if they go the silent protagonist route, I mean, there's a little, I think it'll be a little bit better on the writing perspective, I think. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting, and this is like a personal preference kind of a thing, and I didn't think they were going to go this route with the story, but, alright, so we have this central monastery where we're going to at least start the game at, basically, and we're going to spend that time, you know, like, powering up our army, and, you know, training them in the ways of combat and all that kind of stuff, and it just makes me wonder what direction they'll be able to really take the plot with that. I feel that's something that would be best done at the start of a story, which it still sounds like it could be very possible that this is for the intro, especially considering they were talking about, like, that you have to, like, choose a house to follow. Now, I don't know if that is going to affect the story dynamically or not. With Fates, so far it seems kind of like Fates, a little bit, except it's one game, and not released in 3 installments, which is good. It's got some interesting world building, I think, so far. This is where I talk about my preference, though. I'm usually not a fan of academy settings, so I wonder if they'll be able to keep it interesting, but generally speaking, it's for reasons like that I wasn't able to get into, like, say, Final Fantasy VIII, or a bunch of these other things. Harry Potter I'm a little indifferent on, and a bunch of people like to make Harry Potter comparisons right now. I do think it is interesting how, at least at this point, you know, you have all these countries that, I guess they're at peace, and everything is governed by this, you know, the I don't know, the deity or whatever, this church, and if there's going to be any kind of twist to that, I feel like it has to evolve past these characters just fighting bandits under the command of the church at some point, and there's going to be a conflict that is going to break out, I'm sure, and all these countries are going to end up fighting each other, and it'll probably be interesting at the very least because you'll get a lot of time to directly know these people when it does break out. But I just wonder again, how much time are they going to be dedicating to this school part? Because if it is, I have a lot of questions. That's my main thing. It's been a recurring thing with this game. But alright, so anyways, I'm just gonna like full screen it because I'm sure this is driving you guys nuts. Let's talk about the gameplay stuff. They didn't really focus on it that much this time. So as you can see, alright, we have our usual weapons to choose from, and weapon durability is in fact back. I'm noticing, okay, there's these like upwards things, which might be like buffs of some sort. Yeah, so one thing I do like, of course, is that they have, oh, curve shot 3. What is that? Okay. Is that like a skill? So, one thing I've noticed, a lot of elements from Echoes seem to be returning. And if you guys don't know about Fire Emblem Echoes, it is the most recent Fire Emblem game. It's a remake of Gaiden. For those of you who played Shining Force, and you might be watching this video, a lot of the time, like, I think I've off and on specifically compared Echoes and Shining Force a bit. Because Fire Emblem, normally speaking, like, magic is like a weapon in Fire Emblem a lot of the time. It isn't like something that has like a currency, like an MP currency. So a lot of the time you definitely relied on like paying attention to how many uses something has. And magic was not like that crazy good. In Echoes it is though. In here it looks like they have weapon skills and stuff, which is certainly really interesting. How that's all gonna play out is a little bit beyond me. One thing that did catch my eye a little bit, and there's so much to analyze here, I don't want to spend here like all day talking about this stuff. But alright, I want to pay attention to this bit. So you can train all of your men inside of the castle so that they can become stronger. Okay, so you can class up people however you want, which that was a feature of Shadow Dragon, and to an extent new Mystery of the Emblem I actually wasn't a fan of. I know a lot of people love reclassing and like options, but I feel personally something I didn't like about that is it took away a lot of the uniqueness of every single kind of character. Like yeah, you got to bring in all of your characters, and the novelty, I get it, of being able to just make a character whatever the frick you want is cool. But on the flip side, it also makes it so if a character has like these certain growths or like these certain things, like, I mean, you might just choose not to use them. It's stuff like that that I kind of didn't, yeah, I just didn't like it that much. I know there was a character in Shadow Dragon in particular that I didn't have a single character that could use this one spell tome, and how I saved myself from that situation was just like I took a character and I just reclassed them into something, and they got the ability to use it, and it was about that easy. And that's something I wonder about with this. It's more just a question about the challenge. I suppose I could just not do it, but I really do like how this is a good perk of this setup, though, is that you're going to get a lot of intimate time with all of these characters, so there will be a lot of time to develop them and get to know them. And it seems very freeform. This is looking like it's going to be the most freeform Fire Emblem game I've ever seen yet in terms of the options and your ability to customize people. Like, even down to the fact that I'm just going to scroll back to this screen, and you can see how you have all of these individual weapon skill levels, and this person can just use all of these, which is insane. The fact that you can just do this, you can make a character that just knows how to use tomes, and I guess it makes sense because you're at a school, unless it's something about the noble class. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it, actually. Okay, it might be just this person. I was just like, huh? But still, I don't really know how I feel about that. I suppose, like, the one thing that's nice about it is, like, if you are crazy about, like, going nuts, is, like, you could have just an army of people that just all know how to use bows, and then, the problem about this is I wonder how you're going to balance a game like this, if this is in fact true, because, yeah, the number one issue with that is, alright, if you have a bunch of Pegasus Knights in a map, then, oh, hey, look at that, you just need to have a bunch of archers. Like, I don't know. Again, I'm thinking it's probably this guy's class, though, because Noble, I don't know. Maybe it takes a really long time to grind it up. Who knows? They didn't really focus on the gameplay much aside from that. A bunch of the story was kind of already talked about. It's interesting how they have this like weird little dream girl thing. Again, from what little I've seen of Persona 5, it's like gonna be like the weird dead room thing. Someone did bring up, by the way, that during this one cutscene, and they say that the main character has this one power, like this really strange power where you can see this happening, and he just kind of rewinds time, and then he actually defeats this guy. So, in Echoes, they introduced a mechanic that was called Milla's Turn Wheel, and what that allowed you to do was, if you made a mistake, and granted, in this game, this game series is a little bit of a godsend because permadeath. So, if this is what I think it is, it'll probably allow you to just reset time in the gameplay if you make like a certain mistake. Though they found ways to limit that, so they'll probably find ways to limit it here. In fact, they might limit it more than Echoes. I don't know. I don't have the game yet. And as for the whole branching pathways thing, if choosing your house affects the story as much as I think it will, then what's gonna be absolutely insane is just like replaying it, because I'll probably have to go through the game like 3 times to really see everything there is. And again, story-wise, I wonder if they'll be able to make it more satisfying than it was with Fates, because with that game, well, actually, from this perspective, if everyone is at peace at the start, then it actually has the chance to be actually fairly morally gray with it, provided it does branch out and like war goes a little more crazy with it. Because what I hated about Fates was your options were quite literally the good guy, the bad guy, or both, but you end up mostly doing the good guy stuff, and then you just recruit both, and then, I don't know, alternate dimension ventures. And with this, you could have it where you could actually flesh out, in theory, the Empire and how they're not really like the bad guys, and well, I mean, in the sense that, like, you know, there's gonna be this whole conflict that is almost definitely gonna break out, and being a little more neutral about it could be really cool and refreshing. But who knows? Who knows? I've let this drag on for a little bit too long. I wonder again what things are gonna happen. In fact, I'm gonna pull up the other trailer really quick because I wanna look at that and just kind of cross-reference the little plot things. But this, I want to say also from the gameplay, it looks like it runs quite a bit smoother than it did when we last saw this game. Just from like the combat and the general frame rate and the way that the animations are done. Like just seeing that character do a weird crazy flip like that or spin around, and the dynamic camera angles and all that stuff, it's looking really good. They got the animations down pretty okay. I don't think the animations look as good as Echoes did, because Echoes had crud like if someone slashed near a blade of grass, you'd actually see that blade of grass get cut. And I haven't noticed anything on the level of detail of that yet, which is certainly but hey, it looks good. I wonder how much voice acting there's gonna be. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. We'll see how this game turns out once all is said and done. Either way, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you guys later. I'm gonna let's play this game to some degree. I'm not sure how I'll handle it exactly, especially if it does branch out like that, but hey, who knows. Either way, I'll see you guys later. Bye!